Down south, people boil their seafood. Up north, we steam our seafood, which I think is superior. However, coast to coast, Blackstone owners are griddling seafood, which I've always been on board with. I'm gonna show you how simple, easy, buttery, delicious, and perfectly everything cooks all at once right on your Blackstone griddle for an easy seafood boil or steamer or griddler at home. This is so good, and I know you guys are gonna love it just as much as I do and Griddle Nation does. If you've been a follower of mine for a while now, or since I first got my first Blackstone, you would see that I live for seafood. We love seafood in this house. We cook it all summer long, all winter long, and showing just how easy seafood dishes that I love made on the Blackstone griddle or in the air fryers or in the pizza oven, all of those favorite things of mine, I love sharing with you guys so that you can taste just what I love eating at home. Now, I know down south, seafood is boiled typically. Up north, we like steaming our seafood, which I'll always think is better. If you've been following me since I got my first Blackstone, one of the very first things I ever cooked on it was a deconstructed seafood pot. People were amazed, and I've seen so many people since then be so open to trying seafood cooks right on their Blackstone griddle instead of boiling or steaming. I also see a lot of the negative comments, but I've got to say, you've got to try it before knocking it because it really comes out so good. The cleanup's so easy, and I think our duty as Blackstone owners is to prove just how much this griddle is capable of doing. Now, when it comes to any seafood pot, whether you're boiling or steaming or griddling, you only need a handful of ingredients. I always go for corn on the cob, baby red potatoes, some garlic, onion. I like using Italian sausage. However, I know down south you'll see kielbasa or smoked sausage used more. Today we've got some snow crab legs and some jumbo wild caught, which is key for me, shrimp, some lemon to keep things fresh, and of course Old Bay. You can't have a seafood steamer pot without Old Bay. Now, a typical seafood steamer pot for me includes one of these double boilers. Now, the bottom pot would get liquid, which would be our water, our beer, some lemon, our seasonings, the onion, the corn on the cob, and the sausage all gets cooked within that pot in that liquid. Above it, we would steam our seafood in the order of their cook time. I also have probably 15 other seafood stock pots. So simple if you have a side burner, or if you're lucky enough to have one of the old single burner Rex stoves. That is what we cook all of our seafood on. However, that's not what we're doing today because I want to change your mind on a seafood boil or steamer or griddler on the Blackstone. So let's close up the back of our Blackstone rear grease drain hole just so that nothing goes missing. First things first, using one of our rear grease drain liners, I'm gonna melt down a stick of butter with a little drizzle of olive oil in there, some fresh chopped garlic, and some flat leaf Italian parsley. While that melts down, we'll smear across a little of our sizzle oil just to get our Blackstone nice and coated, keeping our seasoning nice and even as we cook each and every single time. We'll drop down our potatoes and our corn since these will take the longest to cook. Now, for the life of me, I cannot find my extra large Blackstone dome, which I love using for this meal, so we'll have to go with one of the smaller one and split this up. With the help of a little water, we'll place our corn under one of these domes and allow it to help our corn steam and cook through. And being the determined person that I am gonna get these potatoes and corn, no matter what it takes, all under one small dome, adding some water just to help these potatoes cook through as well. While they do their thing under there, I'm gonna drop down my Italian sausage into just a little drizzle of oil, slicing them into bite-sized pieces, which I love that you can cut right directly on your griddle surface. Just don't go too hard because you don't want to cut into your seasoning and mess that up. While that sausage cooks, we'll jump back over to our potatoes and our corn, giving them a little shake under that dome, helping that steam move around and cook everything through. You can use a sharp knife or a toothpick to check for tenderness on your potatoes, which we are just about there. So jumping back over to my sausage, I'm going to drop down just some large quartered chopped sweet onion. Let that go for just a minute, and now I'm going to remove this dome and toss everything together with my potatoes, which are about 95% cooked. My corn doesn't take long at all. It's getting nice and toasty on the outside, but everything needs some flavor, and our butter is melted now. So over the top, we drizzle a little at a time as this cooks, adding some Old Bay as well. And you'll see that as this cooks, we're gonna add more butter and more Old Bay in layers. Now my potatoes are done completely. Everything here is cooked through, so I'm going to slide this aside and drop down our snow crab legs. Now these are already cooked through. All they need to do is thaw out because they do come frozen. You can add a little drizzle of water to create more steam to help them thaw even faster. In the meantime, we'll drop down some smashed garlic cloves, making sure all of our potatoes are cooked through. And then after a minute or so, we can slide them over, adding them to the rest of the party on the griddle, along with our jumbo wild caught shrimp. Now these shrimp do have their shells on. They are butterflied though for easy peeling. The shells add even more flavor, and they also help trap in some of our Old Bay, our melted garlicky butter, and the beer that we're about to add to this, because every seafood pot needs to be cooked with beer. It adds so much flavor. So over the top goes a beer. Let that beer steam, and all of the natural juices from all of our seafood and our sausage, it creates just this beautiful sauce that's very light across all of this seafood. Give it just a few more tosses and a few more minutes, and this is done. Before pulling it off, I always finish with a squeeze of fresh lemon juice all across this, making that sauce even more delicious. And like any seafood lover, I go super heavy on the Old Bay. While we let this finish steaming on our Blackstone griddle, we're gonna jump over and use our air fryer to make some garlicky bread, which I think is a must for any seafood dish. I can see that our shrimp are cooked to perfection, so we're gonna pull this off, plate it up on one gigantic family style sized platter, pull out our perfectly toasted garlic bread from our air fryer, slice that up and top off our platter. Now this truly is a thing of beauty. This is absolutely everything me and my family love. Sitting around the table and just picking at crabs and seafood, getting butter all over our hands. The best part is that you can add any extra seafood you like to it. Sometimes we add clams, mussels, scallops, king crab legs when we're feeling bougie, some lobster tails, really anything you want to add to it, or switch out the protein. If you don't want Italian sausage, add your kielbasa or smoked sausage, or go for both. There's no rules to this one. However, the full written recipe for this simple starter seafood no boil griddle cook is up on blackstoneproducts.com, or you can find it right below this video in the description. Now I challenge you to go try this at home, especially if you're one of the people who are knocking it before trying it. It's always fun to try new ways of cooking. Step out of your comfort zone, away from the boiling or the steaming. You guys are gonna love this seafood on the griddle, I promise. Be sure to shop griddlenation.com, where you can pick up apparel and stickers. Now, until next time, I'm Blackstone Betty. I cannot wait to see you guys for another family style favorite recipe in my next video.